So a lot of people hate the changes that YouTube has made throughout the years, whether it's removing dislikes or their age verification update. But by far, one of the most frequently complained about things that people talk about is the UI. YouTube seems to have this weird obsession with changing their UI almost every day, every week. You will see the UI look completely different pretty much every single month that you're on YouTube. And they usually make these changes regardless of how people feel about it. They usually don't tell us about these changes at all. Like, I mean, for some reason, this website loves to make updates without actually communicating it to their users. But YouTube actually answered today why they keep doing this and why they will probably still do this in the future. So what are some of the recent UI changes that have been made, right? So first of all, a lot of people have been noticing that the like button has been completely changed on YouTube. So first of all, the likes used to show up over here on the left and the counter would be right next to the button over here. This is how it used to look and this is how it's looked for a while now. But now they've changed the like button to be up into the description next to the views and the hours. It looks pretty cluttered over here now. And they made their freaking Ask Gemini button gigantic over here now on the right side. I know these images are a little low quality, but you know, blame YouTube. It's from them. But yeah, the YouTube ads that would play used to take a little bit less space, but now they're just like invading the play bar. The play bar used to have a little red line over here. Now it's just white. It almost just seems like YouTube is getting rid of all of their character and what made them unique. Another hugely hated change that they made recently was that they got rid of the dislike button. Again, obviously they infamously removed the dislike button from long form videos a few years back, but now they've done it from short form videos as well. And not only did they remove the dislike button, but they changed the like button to a heart. I don't know when YouTube is going to understand this concept, but hey, you guys aren't Instagram. Well, you're not TikTok. You're YouTube. You're your own unique thing. And you also dominate the other two companies I just mentioned anyways. So I don't know why YouTube is trying to turn into TikTok and Instagram and get rid of their character by changing the like button into a heart. And also, as you can see, they made everything transparent so it's harder to see. And the dislike button is now in the 3-dot menu where you can go ahead and not recommend a channel or a short or whatever, as opposed to just pressing the dislike button. So they've made it harder for you to go ahead and filter out content that you don't like, especially in the shorts feed. And they keep using the concept and the statement of less is more. They keep trying to say that they're decluttering all the UI and getting rid of like unnecessary things, redundant things. But in reality, they're just removing the character of YouTube before our very eyes. And they also did a little side-by-side comparison of 2025, early 2026, and today in terms of what their mobile UI looks like. And I guess what they're trying to prove is that it's now like decluttered or whatever. But I mean, you know, the point is that YouTube just completely keeps changing everything every week or month. So it's hard to get used to. I mean, I would argue that this is actually more cluttered over time than less. As you can see, the like button and, you know, the like counter is shoved up into the description over here. The channel name is like smashed up, you know, under the title now when it used to just be next to their icon right over here. They're really trying to like push everything together and make everything look a lot more cluttered, in my opinion. It actually looks way more tight and compact over here as opposed to over here. It's okay to have a little bit of space between buttons and stuff. I mean, that's not that big of a deal, YouTube. You don't have to make everything like the most airtight thing possible, you know? And then finally, for the comparison between mobile and TV, they're, you know, making the TV menu look like this. So they're trying to optimize it based on whatever device you're using. And so the big question most people have is why? Why does YouTube keep doing this? Are they going to just eventually stick with the UI that they like? Well, YouTube finally gave us an answer on this one, where they actually wrote recently in a blog post where they say that the idea is to make every pixel count. A YouTube employee wrote that YouTube doesn't want the interface to hog space and could otherwise be available to content, and so it has changed visual elements that may obstruct visibility of the content. Among those changes are shifting the product overlay on long-form videos to a pane below the video rather than on it, and introducing new, more see-through icons on shorts. Similarly, YouTube claims a recent redesign of the action buttons under long-form videos, in which YouTube removed the text labels on the buttons, was intended to ensure the buttons look consistent across the interface. That implies consistency in buttons across shorts and long-form videos on mobile apps and the web. That probably explains why they got rid of the dislike button on YouTube Shorts, because they want everything to look the same on YouTube regardless of whatever type of content you're watching. But it doesn't stop at those places. YouTube says a similar design philosophy also extends to larger screens such as smart TVs. I'm really glad that the writer of this Android Authority article pointed this out, but they said, of course, we can't ignore that this is corporate speak to justify changes, and not all changes land well with those who use YouTube multiple times a day, every day. And he links a different article where somebody says that they use YouTube daily and the new video UI sucks. So shout out to Android Internet Authority for making this article. I feel like that's actually hilarious because most people feel the same. YouTube's new UI is so hard to follow. It just seems very cluttered. And like I said, at least allow us to get used to something as opposed to just changing it every single week. Tons of people on the internet are getting extremely frustrated with YouTube constantly changing the UI over and over again. And a lot of times, and this is what I believe, it just seems like they change the UI just so like the UI team has like something to do or something like that, right? Because a lot of the UI changes just completely make no sense. And a lot of them are just so weirdly different than how it used to be that it almost feels like YouTube doesn't want to be like a uniform website where it looks like how it used to anymore. I mean, obviously, this is something we've gone over before as well, but YouTube's UI has had many changes in the past. And honestly, I used to really like it a lot better before than after. YouTube used to have a little bit more of like a cluttered design, back in the day over here, but like I actually really liked how it looked like around in 2012-ish. 2012 was like the perfect mix of like the modern UI and like how it used to look like before. Like this was one of my favorite video players that YouTube ever had, where it had the volume button, the red progress bar over here. Just the simple like and dislike, and the counter would be right over here. And as you can see, the dislike button actually showed up. And then everything else, like the details description, was below the video. That's probably my favorite UI that's ever been on YouTube. I used to really like the star system as well, the whole 5-star system. And the videos over here were on the side. The homepage button was right over here. There was no Ask AI YouTube search at the time. I mean, this was my favorite UI probably overall, right? And this is what the homepage looked like around that time as well, a little bit later, a year later in 2013. You just had like your stuff and your categories on the left and stuff like that. And you could actually scroll through, and YouTube would actually recommend you videos based on category as opposed to just a blanket For You page. But the point is, ever since YouTube started becoming more corporate, now they're just constantly advertising on the homepage as well. There's just like a million ads on the homepage, constantly prompting you every single day to buy YouTube Premium, buy YouTube Premium Lite, buy YouTube Premium Normal. And another thing about YouTube is it doesn't even seem like their UI changes are actually consistent as well in terms of it actually changing. So many people on the internet are pointing out that YouTube is changing the UI back for some people as well, which is something that YouTube hardly ever does, going back on a decision. Because this is what happens with YouTube's UI changes that a lot of people don't understand. Like when I will make a video about a YouTube UI change, or somebody else will make a video, people will be in the comments and say, but my YouTube UI looks like how it used to, so how come yours is different? Well, remember that not everybody's YouTube UI looks the same because they roll out changes at different times for different people. Believe it or not, my UI could look completely different than yours right now because you just probably haven't gotten some of the changes that I have gotten, or the other way around. But some people are actually getting a UI change and actually getting it reverted, which is usually pretty rare because, like I said, usually when YouTube makes a change, they never revert it. For example, YouTube made an incredibly weird UI change recently that a lot of people don't even know about because they actually didn't get it, where they completely changed the font of the website. YouTube was experimenting with changing the font across the entire website to this like impact looking font. And when I made this video, a lot of people were in the comments saying, but I don't even have that font. So what are you talking about? Is this clickbait? But remember, it's everybody getting YouTube updates at different rates and stuff like that. And also another thing, YouTube also tends to push out different types of UI changes based on the device that you're using. So for example, this thing that I was showing on screen over here with the UI changing with the font, this was actually mainly on mobile. I did not see this personally on desktop at all, but I saw tons of Reddit posts talking about seeing this on mobile specifically. So sometimes when you see something like a font change or the subscribe button change or whatever, it'll actually be done based on whatever device you're using. Now, mobile in general has also gotten tons of way more UI changes than desktop or whatever. Not really sure why YouTube is focusing so much on mobile. Once again, I think it's with the whole thing of them trying to compete with Instagram and TikTok, trying to change their UI over and over again. But yeah, a lot of people voiced their discomfort and displeasure with this new font that they were using. But once again, it looks like YouTube probably didn't go through with this because I don't have this on my YouTube app on my phone. But again, maybe other people do. So the point is that YouTube is constantly changing the UI, and they finally told us why. They're saying that it's because they want to declutter everything and they want to make the video be the forefront as opposed to the UI, which just seems like complete bullshit. So yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.